I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but thankfully there hasn't been a lot of Winds and Waves news recently. Now I expect we're going to hear a lot more during Worlds and XP, so I figured it was finally time for me to release my shiny predictions for the Generation 10 starters. As new Pokemon get released, I like to make shiny predictions before we actually get to see what they look like. In the past I actually haven't been too far off. I think I was pretty close for Bellibolt. So now it's time to take a crack at the Generation 10 Mons. So first up we have our Grass-type starter, Brout, the Bean Chick Pokemon. I will say, I didn't really care for this guy at first, but the memes have got me obsessed with him. Before anybody gets upset, I did kind of go more realistic of what I think the Pokemon Company is actually going to do for these predictions. But before we jump into those, here's one that I thought I really enjoyed. Let me scoot over so that I can show these off. This first one is actually one that I really enjoy. I turned it reddish, kind of simulate some autumn colors. I really don't think the Pokemon Company is going to go with this, but I really do like it and I hope it's something similar. However, let's take a few that I think they actually might do. First up, I could see Brout just barely changing, making the base body a little bit lighter and the eyebrows a little bit darker. I will say it's not a terrible shiny, but I do hope we get something better. I could also see them inversing the colors so that the darker green is the body and the lighter green is the eyebrows. And finally, I could see them doing something very similar to the last one, except making the eyebrows pink, kind of like a flower. Those are all the predictions that I have right now. Personally, I think that the lighter body, darker eyebrows, barely changing one is the most likely. I sure hope not, but that is my main guess for the shiny. Now let's take a look at our next Pokemon, the Fire-type starter of Generation 10, Pombon, the puppy Pokemon. I do think it's kind of funny that it's the puppy Pokemon and not like the fire pup Pokemon. It's just puppy. Like, don't we have Lillipup? Whatever. What even is Lillipup? What the heck? Lillipup is also the puppy Pokemon. We have two the puppy Pokemon? I guess it's a category. So multiple Pokemon could fit into a category. Again, we'll start off with something that I would love to see, but I'm not necessarily sure they will do. I think a blue shiny would be awesome. Everyone loves turning a fire-type Pokemon blue for the shiny. It's classic, and I don't see them doing this, but it could be interesting. Now, like I said, I don't really see them doing this, but I could possibly see them making a little bit of it blue. What if they made the body just a little bit darker orange and turning the highlights blue? Not my favorite, but I definitely could see them doing this. Another one that I really could see them doing and that I really enjoy is just inverting the colors again. If we give the body like that darker red and turn the highlights to that lighter orange, I think it gives off a really cool vibe. And finally, going the more realistic route, I gave it the Charmander treatment. It goes from an orange to a little bit of a brighter yellow. And while most people do really like shiny Charmander, I really hope they don't do this with Pombon. So actually for this shiny, I do think that the one that is my favorite is the one that they're going to choose. And that is the inversion of the shiny. Similar to Brow, and honestly also Gekwa, I wasn't a huge fan of Pombon when it got announced, but I started dating this girl who has a Chihuahua Pomeranian mix, and now I think of Pombon every time I see that dog. So while I'm still trying to figure out which starter I'm going to choose, Pombon does have a pretty good chance. And last but not least, we have the Water-type starter for Generation 10, Gekwa, the Water Gecko Pokemon. I actually think that all the shinies that I made for this one are good, so I'm really hoping that this one's just a free gimme. Like, please Pokemon, stop making bad shinies. You're actually making them now. Gen 9 had some bangers, but oh my gosh, some of them were actually awful. Starting off, I did it with the other two. We might as well invert the colors. I could actually see this one happening. It doesn't look too bad, and I think I would definitely enjoy it. The next change that I also think could be most likely would be turning it to like a greenish blue, more green color. This one might be a little less likely, but I still could see it happening. While on topic of green, I kept the green highlights and turned the body black just to see what it would look like. This one looks really cool. This is what I hope the shiny turns out to be. Unfortunately, I don't know if they're gonna go with that. Even Froakie wasn't like a black shiny, but its evolution was. So I don't necessarily think this is what they'll do, but I do think it would be a really cool option if they did. And finally, most water types get a pinkish purple color, so we threw that on Gekwa. And I decided not to go for the pink color because it is a darker blue, so I stuck with a darker purple. I kept the blue highlights, changing it up just a little bit, and I think this one also looks very cool. This one though is probably the least likely of all of them. But who knows? I do think that they're going to end up doing the inversion color, the first one I showed. But honestly, I think all of them look pretty good. So let me know down in the comments what you think the shinies are going to look like, and if you think I got any of them right. And if you're new here, you might as well leave a subscribe. I do a lot of shiny hunting, and if you guys want to go check out some of my old videos, I've got plenty on the channel. Right now, I'm currently uploading a ton of videos from the past 2 years that I just never got around to uploading. So we're pretty much going to be uploading about a video a day for a while. I hope you enjoy that. Definitely go watch some new videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.